Here we are back having preschool from our houses. Hi, everybody. Hello, Holden. Hello, Bryce. Hello, Liam. We're glad you're here today. Hello, Jameson. Hello, Shay. Hello, Connor. We're glad you're here today. Hello, Brooklyn. Hello, Harper. Hello, Marianne. Hello, Gemma. Hello, everyone. I'm glad you're here today. The letter today is what is that? Z. The letter today is Z. Hi ho the dairy-o. The letter today is Z. Can you do the sound of the letter Z? Z. It kind of makes your tongue tickle. Z. You might say that a bee can buzz. Do you hear that Z at the end of that? Let's do the I'm thinking, and you put on your thinking brains and see if you can think of what word I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of a place that lots of animals are in cages. That would be at the zoo. Good job. I'm thinking of a green vegetable, and it kind of looks like a cucumber, but it's not a cucumber. And some of you bring it in your lunch. It is a zucchini. Good job. I'm thinking of an animal that looks like a horse, but it has black and white stripes. Any ideas what that might be? A zebra. Nice. Oh, what would you call this if I wrote it on the board? What shape would that be? A zigzag. A zigzag. I'm thinking of the number that comes before 1. We say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but before the number 1 comes looks like an O, looks like a circle, but it is a 0. 0. So if we were writing numbers, we'd say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And what is that number? A 1 and a 0 is a 10. Do you remember last time that the 2 and a 0, it kind of sounds like the number 2, 20. We would say 18, 19, 20. 18, 19, 20. Now here's a trick. If it has a 1 in front of it, we know that, let's see, what number haven't we done? We know that a number 7 with a 1 in front of it would be the number 17. If it's a 20 number, the 2 in front of it makes it a 20 number. So just for fun, what if I wrote the number, what number's this? 1. If I put a 2 in front of it, it's not a 20 number. It's not a teen number. It's a 20 number. 21. What if I put another 2 and a 2 in front of it? It would be the number 22. We'll work a little bit more on those a little bit later. Let's think of some more Z's. If I was wearing jeans, I might need to pull up the zipper. Or if I had a jacket that had I might need to pull up the zipper. And if I wanted to get out of it, I would have to unzip it. A car that goes really fast might go zoom. Who is the guy who takes care of the zoo? Any idea? a zookeeper. I have a book called Never Ever Shout in a Zoo. And then we're going to talk about animals we might see in the zoo. Never ever shout in a zoo, because if you do, anything might happen. Don't say I didn't warn you. This sign says snakes this way and birds that way, because you might see those at a zoo. If you shout in the zoo, you might scare a bear, a giant grouchy bear, a giant grouchy grizzly bear that weighs 2,023 pounds. If you shouted in the zoo, you might scare him. And if you scare that bear, he might just charge a large barge of a charge right through the bars of his cage. Uh-oh, don't say I didn't warn you. Now the bear got out. Sometimes these pages are hard to turn. And if that bear got loose, he might charge past a moose, a big moose, a big bull moose, a big bull moose with a bad attitude. All because you shouted in the zoo. And that moose sees a bear running loose. He might get an idea, a dreadful idea, a dreadful, disastrous idea, that he should be free like the bear. Uh-oh, don't say I didn't warn you. Now the moose is chasing the bear, who's chasing the person who shouted in the zoo. And if that moose escapes, he might trot past the apes. And all those apes, all those clever, smart apes, all those clever, conniving apes that love to play jokes. There's the apes. And if those apes should happen to say, the moose and bears, as they clatter on by, they might come up with a plan as they spied them clamoring by. A malicious plan, a malicious, mischievous plan to break out like the moose and the bear and set all the animals free everywhere. Uh-oh, don't say I didn't warn you. Now those apes want to let all the animals out. And those apes could do as they please. They'd probably steal the zookeeper's keys. Then they'd let out the hippos, the lions, the tigers, the kangaroos, the snakes, the flamingos, the crocodiles, and every single beast in the zoo. Okay, you try and remember those animals. We're going to come back to that and see if you remember all the animals that got let out. Uh-oh, don't say I didn't warn you. Now all the animals in the zoo are out, all because you shouldn't have shouted. And all those creatures would scatter about, all because of one shout, one innocent little shout, one innocent little shout that started this whole mess. And all those animals running wild might lock up every man, woman, and child at the zoo, including you. Look it, they put all the people in a cage, including that one little girl who shouted at the zoo. I warned you. You can't say that I didn't. All those animals. I'm going to try and remember what ones we saw. And there you would be in a pen. Then what would you do to get out? You'd probably shout. But haven't I warned you? Don't ever, ever shout in a zoo. Look at, now she's shouting at the museum, and it looks like it says new exhibit, dinosaur frozen in ice. It looks like the dinosaur's breaking out. She just didn't learn to not shout. So what kind of animals do we see at the zoo? We talked about something that started with a Z. That was a zebra. I'm thinking of something with a yellow with a long neck and spots. That would be a giraffe. We talked about, other weeks, we talked about a big gray animal when we did our H's that is in the water with little ears and eyes that stick out and little nostrils. He's called a hippopotamus. There is, let's see, what other animals did they talk about in the zoo? There were the big monkeys are apes. Good. Okay. I'm thinking of, sometimes they have ocean animals in an aquarium. I'm thinking of something that has 8 legs. What are those called? We did it on letter O. Octopus. Let's see. Oh, a mama that carries her baby in her front pocket. A kangaroo. Good. Let's see. Let's see. And of course, there is the big grouchy. The first animal she let out was a bear. And what about the L that we just did? The king of the jungle with the big mane is called a lion. And then there's kind of a smaller cat called a tiger. Good grief, there are a lot of animals. Let's see if there were any others. There was a moose. All because she shouted at the zoo. Something else that I recall they have at the zoo are snakes. And I wanted to share this with you because this is actually kind of more real. That was a pretend story, but this one is real. Great snakes. And there are some things to learn from this book that I really like. Great snakes. 2 snakes, 4 snakes, 6 snakes, 8 snakes. Look at, all snakes look different. I mean, there's just so many different kinds. Snakes with diamonds, snakes with stripes, snakes with dots, snakes with many kinds of spots. Snakes that live in the hot desert, snakes that live in trees. Ooh, I don't think I'd like to go there where I could walk under a tree and a snake could drop down. Snakes in the mountains, snakes in the sea. In the ocean, there are sea snakes. With no legs, snakes can slither up. They can climb up a tree. They can slide. There are snakes that hang and then they let go and they glide. Snakes with rough skin, snakes with soft skin. Here's something, when their skin gets old, it peels right off and there's a new skin underneath it. Kind of peels off like a banana. What do you think? Snakes with fangs are a scary sight. Snakes with fangs, the ones that have fangs like these that are sticking out of his mouth, those are the kind that can bite with poison. Snakes that coil up small, snakes with necks that stretch tall, round and thick snakes, thin little snakes, real skinny little things like sticks. Snakes with fat snouts. Their face is kind of fat. Snakes with forked tongues that stick out. Snake are also come from eggs. Snake eggs. Now how many snakes do you see coming out of all those eggs? Tons of snakes coming out of all those eggs. Snakes eat bugs and rats and fish. They can just swallow them right down. Their bodies just stretch. A lizard makes a tasty dish. Look at him swallowing that lizard. Chickens, frogs, and for a treat, a crocodile. That's quite a feat. Did you know that a snake could stretch so much that it could eat a crocodile? I didn't know that until I read this book. Snakes that rattle. Snakes that battle. Ooh, there's a couple of neat ones in here. Snakes that play dead, but don't go up to them because they're not really dead. They just look like it. Snakes with 2 heads. I think that's about all on our snakes. So I thought it might be fun for you. We would have done this in class, and it's a favorite thing that we do every year. I thought it would be fun for you if you got to make a snake. All you need is an old necktie that Dad doesn't want anymore. You see if he's got an old tie he doesn't like or doesn't wear anymore. So, Mom and Dad, this is usually open. You just take some stuffing, maybe a couple handfuls of stuffing, and stuff it inside. If you don't have stuffing, just rags or something else that you can stuff that's soft kind of inside, maybe even a bunch of cotton. Stuff it inside, and then Mom or Dad glue gun the edges down. And that's about it. You're gonna make, I used felt to make a tongue, some fabric to go around the eyes. And then if you don't have wiggle eyes, you can use buttons. And just, I would say glue gun them on just because this is something that's fun to play with. Then tie a knot part way so that your stuffing doesn't move all the way up. So you're just kind of padding the end of it, and then you've got your own little snake. Always been fun. Okay, friends, that's it for today. I will see you again next week. We have one more to do, the letter U. And I think you'll have fun with the activity that we have planned for it. It is time to say goodbye to all our friends. It is time to say goodbye to all our friends. It is time to say goodbye. Give a smile, wink your eye. It is time to say goodbye to all our friends. Goodbye, friends. Yee-haw!